Hi, everybody. I am Jen Johnson, and you are watching Thought by Thought Healing, where I get on here and talk about everything having to do with chronic pain and chronic symptoms, the mind body connection, and how through that mind body connection we can heal and reverse a ton of different symptoms. So, thanks for being here today. I am thankful to be talking with you, but I'm even more thankful for this weekend. I get to go spend a few days with my sister celebrating her upcoming wedding. And so us girls get to get away and have a weekend together. So that'll be awesome. And I'm also thankful because the weather is finally changing. Seattle has had the worst spring that I've ever experienced here, record-breaking lows and rain, and it's just been nasty. And the sun is out today, so that feels nice. So, but on to our topic, which is the idea of tracking our symptoms. So, this is the inspiration for this week. I was cleaning out my bedroom and I found this calendar in my bookshelf where I was tracking, before I understood the mind body connection, I was tracking all of my symptoms. And I would write down the atmospheric pressure, and I would write down the foods that I had eaten that day, and how much medication I had taken, and what type of medication, and how I was using my body, what activities I was doing. All this because I wanted to find what was causing my pain, which we know now it is the brain that's causing neuroplastic and mind-body pain. And so attributing your symptoms to some outward item or experience is an incorrect association. And so tracking actually does the opposite. And I am going to talk about what to do instead of tracking, but I want to first make sure that we understand that the reason that tracking is so bad is that because that we're making that association. So now it's like, okay, when I walk on cement floors, I hurt. And then we've created that association in the brain. And so now the brain, every time it sees a cement floor, it recognizes that as dangerous, feels unsafe, sends a warning signal of pain, and now it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So this is true of, and this is my belief. This is true of food sensitivities and all weather. Attributing our pain to weather, I believe, is inaccurate. And also the way we move our bodies. So paying it, like if you're tracking, like, oh, if I stand up this way, then it hurts my back. But if I stand up this other way, all those things, I believe, are attributing it to the wrong thing. And instead, we actually, for healing, we actually need to break those neural pathways. They're literal. When I say associations, I mean neurons coming together. There's a synapse, there's action potential, and it really literally creates that energy from your brain into your body. And that energy, as we know from the first law of thermodynamics, that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And so we have to use that energy, right? We have this thought energy. We can't just stop thinking. It's not how we're created. And instead, we want to redirect that energy towards thoughts that are going to create healing in our bodies and our lives. The awesome thing about healing from chronic pain is that you also get to heal mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We're looking for the ways that your brain is not at ease and does not have peace, and applying truth to your brain, to your mind, to your thoughts. And that plays out through the autonomic nervous system. But I digress. What we want to do instead of tracking our symptoms and tracking what's causing the symptoms is we want to instead start to pay attention to incremental progress. And what I mean by progress is not the reduction of pain. We never want to pay attention to our pain. We want to pay attention to what's behind the pain. And so we're talking about setting up boundaries. We're talking about inner dialogue. We're talking about graded exposure. We're talking about good interactions with people, because we all know when we're in pain, we're grumpy. And so we want to start paying attention, and AKA documenting or tracking or giving note to. And really what I'm saying is I want you to encourage yourself in the ways that you are choosing to change. So when you're creating boundaries and you start to ask for what you need, or you share your own opinion about something, or you stand up for yourself, or you disagree in the right circumstances, or when you catch yourself having inner dialogue, being self-critical. I can't do this. I'm never going to heal. When you correct that language, note those ways that you are choosing hope. You're choosing joy. You're choosing to move forward. Another thing is if you're doing the work of graded exposure. So if you've started to introduce your body to things that it has been afraid to do for so long, we want to do that at a slow pace. And when you make you take that challenge on, you want to make sure that you're encouraging yourself and being proud of yourself for doing the work, because healing is work. We get to think psychologically. The one area that I do sometimes encourage people, if they get stuck, to pay attention to is when your symptoms come up, what is happening around you? Think about your subconscious, which is a strange thing because you're using your conscious to think about your subconscious, and think about what's happening. Is people pleasing happening? Are you being self-critical? Is there something that's underlying low-level anger? Is there shame? Like paying attention to what could potentially be happening subconsciously, and then doing the work around that, but still being careful to not associate the pain to that, but then seeing, okay, this is the underlying issue with this. I'm going to start working on this anger, or I'm going to start working on this fear. So that's one way that it can be helpful to pay attention to what's happening around you when you have the symptoms. But other than that, when I work with clients, depending on their story, sometimes I will have them start to pay attention to what they're doing, what steps forward they're making, and writing that down so that they are uplifting themselves. These positive emotions, when we experience them and dwell in them, it actually releases hormones and neurotransmitters that are incredibly healing in our body. And that energy then, instead of being sent through our body and distressing hormones and distressing tension and you name it, heart, oxygen, breathing, instead of doing that, then that energy is redirected towards the calm nervous system. And that's what we really want. So start documenting the ways that you are incrementally taking tiny steps forward. At this point in time, we don't really care if the pain is going away. We're just with outcome independence, taking in faith these steps forward and creating an environment that our brain then recognizes as safe. So I hope that, maybe I'll just give you that homework this week. Yeah, your homework this week is to start paying attention to the things that you are doing well and right. Another one that actually can be helpful and powerful is just paying attention to what good interactions you're having with a barista or with the cashier or with a friend. Good interactions have a big effect on our bodies also. So I think I've said the words pay attention like 20 times in this episode, which is just fine because it's true. All right, you guys, check out my website. It is thoughtbythoughthealing.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I will see you next weekend after I go have a good time with my sister and her friends. All right, see you guys later. Bye.